Hi, it's Lucy, and today I'm here to do an unhaul. So this is not the first unhaul I've done on my channel, but it is the first unhaul. No, it's not. It's also not the first unhaul I've done with a twist, I think. But if you don't know what an unhaul is, it's basically the opposite of haul. Instead of showing you all the books I'm bringing in, I'm showing you all the books I'm taking out. But this unhaul has a twist. I will also be doing the try a chapter tag with some of the books that I'm contemplating getting rid of. So the first half of this video will just be a bunch of books that I've already read that I don't want anymore, so I will be getting rid of them through various means. The reason I'm doing this unhaul is because I'm moving. The first half of this video, like I mentioned, is just books that I've already read and I'm getting rid of them no matter what. And then the second half will be the try a chapter tag, where I pick up a bunch of books, where I've already picked them out actually, and I just read the first chapter and I decide if I want to keep it based on that. So the first book I'm definitely getting rid of is The Love Interest by Cale Dietrich. If you've watched my June wrap up, you will know that I did not enjoy this book, so I see no reason to keep it, so I'm not. I think it's supposed to be a satire, but it wasn't done very well, where basically there are two love interests who are trying to get the girl, and one of them is a stereotypical nice guy and one of them is a stereotypical bad boy, and we follow the nice guy as he's trying to get the girl, but then also he sort of kind of falls in love with the guy, or with the bad guy. And yeah, it wasn't good. Next, I have two books that kind of go together: The Life-Changing Magic of Not Giving a Fuck by Sarah Knight and Get Your Shit Together, also by Sarah Knight. Both of these I read and they were fine, and I bought them both at the same time actually, and I don't really feel like I need to keep them now. I bought them because they were cute looking and I thought I would want to keep them, but after reading them, I don't think I'm ever gonna go back to them or anything like that, and I never wrote in them or anything. This one does have a bent page though. Oops. Four Dead Queens by Astrid Schuldt. This is another one I read and I didn't like. What video did I do this in? There was a reading vlog I read this in. I'll leave that link down below and somewhere on the screen. But basically, a lot of the stuff that happened, I felt like didn't make a lot of sense. I didn't like the main character. I didn't like the romance that was involved. I didn't like how the mystery was done. I just didn't like most of the aspects of this book. So there's no reason to keep it, and it's an arc, and I'm not attached to the book in any way. This follows 17-year-old Carolee, I'm reading from the back, who is Kadara, which is the kingdom she's in, most skilled thieves. And we also follow Varen, who is an honest, upstanding citizen of Kadara's most enlightened region. This country is separated into 4 quadrants. They run into each other and somehow get caught up in a plot that leaves all 4 queens of Kadara dead, and it's about that. Didn't love it. Some people did. I wasn't one of them. The Lifeboat Clique. I read this. It was fine, but I don't see a need to keep it. And yeah, I didn't even read the physical copy. Oh, there's a bookmark in here. Oh, this was for me. I'm keeping this bookmark though. But yeah, I didn't even read the physical copy and it wasn't that good. Definitely not good enough to keep it, so I'm not. And this is about a girl who's the class outcast kind of, and there's a giant flood. Basically, it ends up with her and her best friends turned enemy, so now she hates her, and 2 or 3 other people on a life raft, and they're trying to survive, and it's kind of funny, but it's just a little too much at times. I don't know if that makes sense. And the last book that I know for sure I'm getting rid of is Startup by Dori Shafrir, another book that I read and it was okay. I actually like this book the most out of all the other books, but once again, I didn't love it enough to keep it or like it enough to keep it, and I literally never opened it because I listened to the audiobook. That's why you can hear those sounds. And yeah, it was a fun read, but I don't know, I don't feel like I need to keep it, so I'm not. So now on to the books that I will be trying a chapter of. I have 5 books. The first one will be Weave a Circle Round by Carrie Marin. Where did I get this? And yeah, I'll just be reading the first chapter, so let you know how that goes. So there's a prologue. It's pretty long actually, so I think I'll just be reading the prologue. Okay, so I think I'm gonna keep this. The prologue did intrigue me. I didn't tell you what it was about before I started reading it, so I'll do that now. The synopsis says, Freddie doesn't want people to think she's weird. Her family makes it difficult, though, because her deaf stepbrother is a major geek, and her genius little sister is training to be the next Sherlock Holmes, and all Freddie wants to do is survive high school. Then, two extremely odd neighbors move in next door, and they definitely aren't normal. Neither is their house, which defies the laws of physics, and neither is Freddie's situation when she suddenly finds herself stuck thousands of years in the past with her very, very weird neighbors, and that's only the beginning. The prologue didn't include any of that, but it did seem weird, and the synopsis says, discover your inner child once again in this debut fantasy for fans of Madeleine L'Engle, Diana Wynne-Jones, and E.L. Konigsberg. And I have liked 2 out of the 3 authors, Diana Wynne-Jones and E.L. Konigsberg, so yeah, I'm willing to give this a shot. I don't think I'm going to get rid of it quite yet. Next, we have Amber and Dusk by Lyra Celine. I got this from an Owl Crate. This is the Owl Crate exclusive edition. How is this different? I think this is purple instead of whatever color it's supposed to be. I don't remember. I'll tell you the synopsis for this at first. I have actually read the synopsis before. So basically it follows a girl who has the power to create illusions. She goes off to the palace to take her place in court because I guess having powers entitles you to a place in court. Very unclear to me. And then the Empress allows her to come as part of a cruel wager. And while she's at court, she discovers that things are not as it seems and no one will answer her questions. So while she's at court, she must consider whether it is worth the price she will have to pay to gain her rightful place. That synopsis I'm sure sounded great. I'm gonna read the first chapter, and the book is signed. So the first chapter is 10 pages, 9 pages technically, so we'll be back. So yeah, the first chapter was fine. It basically just had the main character. We don't really learn anything about anyone. We see the main character use her powers, which I guess, according to the first chapter at least, are kind of looked down upon. She thinks people are thinking she's a witch or something, so it doesn't bode well. But overall, I just kind of don't care. So I think I will be getting rid of this. I just don't feel like I want to read it, and I know that this is the first book in a series, and I don't really want to commit myself to that. So next we have Steeple Jack by A.J. Hartley. This follows 17-year-old Anglet Sutonga, cannot pronounce names, who lives and works as a steeplejack in Bar Salem, a sprawling city known for its great tower spires and smokestacks and even greater social disparities across race and class. Sounds fun. Angie's world is turned upside down when her new apprentice Barrett is murdered the same night that the city's landmark jewel is stolen. Her search for answers behind his death exposes unrest in the streets and powerful enemies. But she also finds help from unexpected friends, a kind-hearted herder, a politician's haughty sister, and a savvy newspaper girl. As troubles mount in Bar Salem, Ange must discover the truth behind both murder and theft soon, or else watch the city descend into chaos. This has a lot of blurbs by people I've never heard of, except for R.L. Stine, who I have heard of, but everyone else I don't know. So we'll see. How long is the first chapter? 8 pages, so let you know how I do. Okay, so I didn't even finish the first chapter. Yeah, I just don't think I will love this book. It's not really pulling me in. There's a lot of world building, in the first 5 pages, which I felt like was a little too much. And there are made-up races combined with real races, which I always think is kind of weird. It mentions people are white and black, but the main character is something called Lonnie, which is brown, but doesn't exist in the real world. So I don't know. If we're going to do that, I think you should either make up all the races or use real races, basically. This just doesn't interest me, so I'm getting rid of it. Next, we have First Life by Gina Showalter. This takes place in a world where everyone knows what happens after you die. You basically go to, is it called the afterlife? Everlife. You go to Everlife after first life, basically. And Everlife is split into two like realms, and the realms are fighting against each other. And the main character, the book starts off with her, I think, in prison because she wouldn't let her parents choose where she ends up in Everlife. So I'm gonna read the first chapter, which is, damn, okay, interesting. Okay, so there's a lot of like perspective. Oh, is it all told like this? No, just kidding. It starts off with a bunch of instant or like emails. Maybe I will read the emails and the first chapter because I feel like that's really not representative. The first chapter is 14 pages plus the emails aren't numbered. So we'll just see how far I get. Okay, so I'm not done yet, but the emails are between, I guess, someone in an army, soldier, I don't know. They call them laborers, but I think it's like the army. But this is like someone emailing back and forth with their superior, and the way they address them, I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, it seems really inappropriate for like a soldier to talk to their superior the way it is. And then the general, who's the superior, is like, don't talk to me that way. And then he keeps talking to him that way, and I'm like, I don't know what kind of world this is, but it's just weird. But I'm gonna go back to reading. So I read the like emails back and forth, and then I read the first chapter. So now I'm on page 40, and I'm conflicted about this one. I was intrigued and engaged with reading this, but I also think it's going to be bad. But I think it'll be entertainingly not good. I don't know, but I also have a feeling this is going to end in a love triangle, and I don't like that. So yeah, I think for now I'll keep it. So far I've only kept one other book, so I'll keep this. And the last book that I have to show you guys is Riders by Veronica Rossi. Nothing but death can keep 18-year-old Gideon Blake from achieving his goal of becoming a U.S. Army Ranger. As it turns out, it does. Recovering from the accident that most definitely killed him, Gideon finds himself with strange new powers and a bizarre cuff he can't remove. His death has brought to life his real destiny. He has become War, one of the legendary 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Over the coming weeks, he and the other horsemen, Conquest, Famine, and Death, are brought together by a beautiful but frustratingly secretive girl to help save humanity from an ancient evil on the emergence. They fail. Now bound, bloodied, and drugged, Gideon is interrogated by the authorities about his role in a battle that has become an international incident. Can't speak. If he stands any chance of saving his friends and the girl he's fallen for, not to mention all of humankind, he needs to convince the skeptical government officials the world is in imminent danger. But will anyone believe him? Yo, that is not what I expected this to be about. I don't think I've ever read the synopsis. I've had this book for years now. Yeah, 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse? That sounds pretty interesting. Not gonna lie. But I think this is not what the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse are supposed to do. They're supposed to bring about the end of the world, not stop it. So that is another interesting fact. But yeah, let's see. The first chapter is only 7 pages. Not long, but I think I've determined I don't want to keep this. I didn't realize he had already become an army ranger, but yeah, or maybe he joined the army after he got his powers or whatever, but I don't really have an interest in reading about someone who was in the army. They deal with other government stuff. That's what happens in the first chapter, and he's gonna, like the synopsis says, he's gonna have to convince everyone that he's not crazy. And I don't hate stories like that, but I don't love stories like that because probably the majority of the book is going to be spent convincing people he's not crazy and you already know what's going to happen. So it's not as enjoyable to read, or at least for me. So I think I'm gonna get rid of this. Out of the 5 books I started with, I'm keeping 2 and I'm getting rid of 3. Don't know how to count. And overall, I'm getting rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Overall, I'm getting rid of 9 books. So that's pretty good. That's pretty average for my unhauls, I think, around 9 or 10. And yeah, so this was probably a long video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any opinions about any of the books I'm getting rid of, let me know in the comments down below. And let me know if you unhaul books. Do you do that regularly or not? Let me know. I want to know. No. Anyway, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel because I make more videos where I talk about books. Again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.